Welcome to Level Up Writing. Today, we're tackling introductory clauses, how to write them correctly, and how to use them to make your writing more engaging. Let's start right now with the simplest explanation.
You already know that a sentence is a subject and a predicate. You could write a sentence like, "She learned advanced calculus." But sometimes, a sentence is more than that. Sometimes there's information before this main clause of the sentence. So your sentence can become, "Before Sarah turned 9, she learned advanced calculus." These words before the main clause can act a lot of different ways, but they are never a complete sentence by themselves, and they are always set off from the main clause with a comma. And that is the simplest explanation for today's skill. Let's head over to the sentence factory and create some examples.
There are a whole bunch of different words and phrases you could add to the start of a sentence. For example, you could write an introductory clause that relates to when the sentence happened. Or you could create a dependent clause at the start of your sentence. These are sentences that start with words like if, because, since, or although, along with quite a few others. You could also write a descriptive introductory clause, like this one. Or you could use an introductory clause to focus on the purpose or goal that is described in the main clause. In less formal writing, you might even use something called an introductory element before the main clause. An introductory element is just a fancy way of saying a single word that comes before the main clause. These are used all the time in dialogue between characters, since that's how people often speak. Finally, you can use an introductory clause to describe where something is. Now, this isn't a complete list of every type of introductory clause or element, but it's a decent start. And remember, you can always replay this part of the video if you're looking for some ideas for your own writing. Next, let's head over to problems and pitfalls and find out how this could go sideways and how to make sure it doesn't.
There are two main problems that writers encounter with this skill. Run-on sentences is the first and most serious of those problems. If you're still stringing all of your sentences together incorrectly, you need to change that habit in order to be successful with this skill. Break your writing into manageable sentences that start with a capital letter and end with a punctuation mark. The second problem writers encounter is failing to add punctuation after the introductory clause. So, let's focus on that skill. The easiest way to do that is to find the main clause of the sentence, also known as the subject and predicate. Basically, you're looking for the smallest set of words that could be a sentence on its own. Let's check out a few examples. See whether you can find the main clause that could stand on its own. After the final bell rang, the students raced out of the school as if it were on fire. Your main clause that could stand as a sentence on its own is, "The students raced out of the school." So, the words before that are set off by a comma. Because the rain was relentless, the soccer game had to be postponed until next week. Your main clause is the soccer game had to be postponed. That's the smallest group of words needed to be a sentence, right? So, the introductory clause, because the rain was relentless, gets a comma.
All right, you know the drill. See if you can answer each question correctly before time runs out. Your goal is to look for introductory clauses. If you find one, add a comma to separate it from the main clause. And if you don't find an introductory clause, you don't need a comma. Although she was nervous about her speech, her confident smile fooled everyone. Comma after this dependent clause, before the main clause. Shivering in the icy wind, the dog pressed itself against its owner for warmth. Comma after wind, before the main clause. The dog pressed itself against its owner for warmth. This is some descriptive writing. The boy ran down the street as fast as his little legs could carry him. It was a trick. There's no introductory clause. This sentence starts with the subject of the main clause. A boy, followed by the predicate, ran down the street. No comma is needed here. and I hope you didn't fall for that nonsense. To make the cookies extra chewy, Mia added an extra tablespoon of butter to the recipe. Comma after chewy. With a look of determination, she stepped up to the plate and swung the bat. Comma after determination. I love how this writer gave us so much information about the character with just 5 little words in the introductory clause. It's inspiring, really. Brings a tear to my eye. So, how did you do on my little test? I hope it went well. I really do. But if it didn't, that's on you. Start the video over and watch it at 10% speed. You're better than this, and you know it.
Writers, it's time to pause for the cause of great writing. Here come a couple of screens you might need as you begin your next essay. You'll find plenty of examples of different types of introductory clauses here. Feel free to press pause now or check back here when you begin your next essay.
And that's the whole show. How did you do? When you're ready to try this out in your writing, remember, good writing always features variety. So introductory clauses are a great strategy for strong sentences, but it's not a great strategy for every single sentence. Sprinkle well-crafted introductory clauses throughout your writing, and you will impress your reader while providing some extra detail to improve the telling of your story. Today, you learned a new skill that will help you become a better writer. You should be proud of that progress. Now, please remember to subscribe to your local newspaper and smoosh that smash button. We'll see you in the next video from Level Up Writing.